Hi, welcome everyone. We are back at home, Cynthia and Maria today, and man, we have so you got all
Yeah,
my goodies on. Woo-hoo.
it was very pretty.
As beautiful as ever. Uh, so we have a very interesting show for you today, and that's about all I can say. The topic is what was the topic going to be?
Furries.
Furries. Yes, furries.
And I just want to make it very clear that um, we want to do like it. I think it's a more serious problem. I think that a lot of people will laugh at it. They'll giggle. It's uncomfortable for if anyone doesn't understand, I'm a conservative. I am. Um, I had a different take on a video that I saw where most conservatives would make fun of it and kind of giggle and laugh. I think our conversation earlier was bringing up the more serious side of what it means to be a furry. And I'm not for it. I think it's a very dangerous thing. But so many dangerous things are happening in our society. And I think it's a more serious problem than people are actually acknowledging. So
So,
go ahead.
try first. What is a furry?
Um, Furries are people who have an interest in anthropomorphic animals. I'm going to say that word again. Anthropomorphic animals, or animals with human traits. And they are also, they identify as these animals almost as an alter ego. They wear the animal, and it's not like wearing a plastic mask during Halloween. They identify as them. They use them. And by the way, this show is not for children. Please do not have children around when we're talking about these topics. I think that children should be kept out of these topics. My
Yeah.
personal opinion. They are so anthropomorphic animals. That's what they technically are called, and they're just animals with human traits. So they wear these actual uniforms.
Okay, I gotta ask. Animals with human traits. The only
Yeah.
animal with human traits that I can think of right off the top of my head are chimpanzees.
A what?
Chimpanzees.
Chimpanzees.
Yes. Um, I don't know how lions or tigers and wolves or
And the reason why you're saying that is because chimpanzees happen to have they stand up straight.
right.
They walk on two legs most of the time.
And the animal
I,
kingdom
I don't know if I would consider
is
them human traits, but even chimpanzees, I know if you look at anthropology, and that's,
yeah,
I get that. The scientific, they're animals though. They're not humans,
right, exactly,
chimpanzees.
exactly.
And and the people are using almost like a pseudo form of themselves. They're they're identifying with these animals, whichever ones they pick. And so Fox News recently, we were discussing earlier, did a show where they interviewed a furry, and he was a raccoon. He dressed as a raccoon. He expressed himself. I didn't agree with what he was saying, but he expressed himself in a very serious manner, answered the questions without, very clearly. So there was some intelligence there in this person who was answering these questions, and saw themselves and identified as a raccoon. And all people who are consider themselves to be these furries can identify as that alter ego person, as that animal.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's serious because and there's a lot of sexual, what would you say? That they have very sexual mannerisms when they're in groups. Yeah, when they come together. They hold these conventions, and this guy that was identifying as a raccoon was stating that he was fighting for children to be there. The government was saying no, children shouldn't be at these conventions, and he was stating that they should, because during these conventions there are no sexual things going on between them. But you know what? Pedophiles can hide at these conventions in full, full costume, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
And
who they are. They can identify as Godzilla for all I care, but that's not saying who is the person under the costume.
Right.
So that itself makes it worrisome to parents,
to say the least.
Yeah. So people who have experienced trauma in their lives, that can be very worrisome to not know who is under the costume. So
right.
My thinking is, I understand that part of where they're coming from, that they choose to be considered a furry or this other
fantasy created. It's a fantasy in their mind. They create an alter identification because they lack the ability to feel comfortable in social experiences.
It's more of a choice. I feel like as adults we have choices that we can make. If I've had a lot of trauma in my life and in my childhood, I could have gone any number of directions. Over 30 years of drinking and drugging, I could have been killed at any moment. We're close sometimes to death. But I chose to be human. And I chose to get help. I chose to seek out a therapist that could actually help me. And so most of my life, and still to this day, I see a therapist. And I will probably always see a therapist because that person helps me to cope with life. Is it hard for me to go out of the home? Yes, I'm an agoraphobic, and it takes everything I have to get myself out of the house and go to town. But I'm okay with that. I accept that part of my life, and I have, over many years, learned how to help myself. So my thought on that, to say that I'm going to dress up as Bambi because it helps me feel more comfortable in social networking outside of my home or online or wherever I go or choose to go, that's not reality. That's somebody who's not willing to mentally cope with the nature of their true self.
And here's the difference I'm hearing from you. I'm hearing lots of things. And again, Cynthia and I come from different backgrounds. We've had different experiences growing up. We've had different types of parents bringing us up with different cultures, and and yet we align as friends with a lot of similarities. Both women coming from different types of abuses, both women who grew up struggling with different insecurities, both very strong women and very like-minded in our political views. And that's okay to have different types of friends who see things differently, maybe have viewed the world differently at some times, but can come together in a common kind of like common bond in terms of where we see this world going, and where we think we can strengthen other people through things that have happened to us. And so, you know, I hear a lot of what Cynthia is saying, and she's saying, look, I have these things going on in my life, and I use a therapist for this to bring out my strengths and to help me cope with the things that have happened in my life. However, the difference is between what the topic was, furries, and what's happened to Cynthia is that she's not hiding herself. She's not saying, I have these social anxieties and these social insecurities, right? And Cynthia has grown to be a life coach, and a very good one. And I have done that on the side. I do real estate for my full-time job. But she's saying that I'm coping with this and growing stronger with who I am. I'm not trying to hide who I am. I'm not cloaking myself with another identity. I'm trying to find who I am and my identity, and I'm expressing it as the person that I was born as, right? She's not hiding. You see Cynthia. The problem I have is when you're talking about, and I never thought in my lifetime, by the way, I would, and I'm not mocking it, making fun of it. I'm saying I'm sorry, I view it as a disease, right? When you have, what was the word I used again? When you see yourself very differently, you're, like the way you identify yourself, or your weight. What is that? It's when you see your body differently, thinking that, I said it to you before when we were talking, and I can't think of the word right now. But when you have an identity problem, when you look in the mirror and you see yourself quite differently than the rest of the world sees you externally, okay? There's a word for it, and I'll think of it in a second. But that's how they view themselves. They have a warped interpretation of their own body and who they are mentally. And that's a mental illness. Right. And I'm sorry, but I feel that there is a category that these people who identify as furries fall under some kind of mental illness. Right. When you have social anxieties, that's a type of mental illness, right? Yep. Where you feel that you're not able to cope in the real world externally from your home. Right. And we all have that. We all have anxieties. I go to meetings, I have to meet different people, and because of the abuses and we're not going to talk about that because this is a show specifically on the subject, but because of the abuses that I've had to conquer, they can cause you to go, can I do this? They bring out your insecurities. Mm. Am I the person that was abused? Or am I going to conquer my fear and go out there and say, not anymore? Yeah. I'm going to face people. I'm going to face my issues. And I'm doing it as myself. And I don't, all of us have some kind of social anxiety all the time. We face it all the time. Mm-hmm. Cynthia faced that when she became a life coach and she's helping other people. She's conquering those fears. What happens is, and she helps others to do the same because she knows what it's like, because she can really identify, not as somebody who's never been through it, but as somebody who has been through it and has risen above it. And what you do is when you cloak yourself in these types of masks or these costumes, what you're doing is you're not conquering your fear. You might find others who are dressing up like you. You might find some solace in that community, but you're still closing yourself and boxing yourself off into a very dangerous path that you're taking. You're not facing society. You're not facing your fears. You're not conquering your fears. What you're doing is you're hiding, and you're finding other people to hide with you.
Yeah, you're creating an entirely new reality for themselves.
It's not reality. You're a false reality.
Right, right. But to them, I think they see it as their reality. This is my reality. I am Bambi, or I am a bear, or I am ant. And so, but it is a fantasy world. And if you're in this fantasy world, then you are not.
Dysmorphia. Just wanted to get that out. So when you have a dysmorphia, they have the same thing. When you have an image dysmorphia, that's what they have.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, this idea that I'm going out and I'm going to dress up as a kitten because I don't do well around people. I don't do well in social settings. So then that's when you say to yourself, wow, I probably need to see someone about this. To not, I mean, if there's a club that people gather and they dress as other animals, I believe in years past that there have been clubs where people dress as different animals. The Native Americans would have hunting dances where they would wear headdresses of other animals, deer or bear, bison, but they didn't continue that outside of that realm.
But they were also doing it for a different reason.
Right.
If you're looking at their religious views or their, I'm Greek Orthodox, I believe in Jesus and God and the Holy Trinity, the Native Americans, and this is what makes America wonderful, religious, like, freedom to believe as we should do, right? Everybody believes differently.
Yep.
And that's what's being mocked today. But whatever it is, for some reason, the society is encouraging people to get away from traditional values and religions and what this foundation of America was based on in terms of religious freedoms and political views and all that. They're saying respect us when we mutilate our children and allow them to make decisions that will alter their lives forever in terms of operating on 4, 5, 12, 13-year-olds changing their gender.
Yeah, I want to make on that.
Respect us as the LGBT community, where if we are transgender or transvestites, we can come into a woman's bathroom, even if a woman feels uncomfortable with that. They want everybody to respect these furry people, which I am not making fun of. I am actually concerned about.
We're not we're not judging people. This is not a show about judgment or about making jokes about or laughing about. These are
It's not a
things that
laughing
are
matter.
happening in
It's a
our
serious matter.
yeah, things that are
It's scary
happening
where this society's going.
that, you know, again, this group of people, these furries, want to meet up as a group, that they are a group of people, a small group of people who have a club. And once or twice a week, they meet in their costumes to meet everybody, however they choose to meet everybody.
I think it's dangerous. I'm
But they-
sorry, I
they-
disagree.
But
It's so
that's what they
dangerous.
choose to be. That's the part of freedom in this country.
Yeah,
That
I
they
guess
can
so, yeah.
choose to be who they want to be. But don't slam it in my face. Don't
Exactly.
slam it in my grandchildren or great grandchildren's face. That belongs to that person who chooses to be as such.
And
No.
do not bring
Okay.
children into something that is a dangerous, I'm sorry, it's dangerous
It is.
for children to be involved in that.
Yeah.
And
Because
you're
children-
hiding behind your identity where you can have pedophiles amongst you
yeah,
and you
if
can't
they-
identify who they are.
yeah. Imagine if they
Sorry.
become so
Yeah.
obvious throughout the country, walking down the street, going to the store.
I know.
Children will become so accustomed to seeing that they are not going to be afraid of that.
Yeah.
Children have no fear. When
Mhm.
parents do not
Exactly.
teach their children how to walk away from, how to yell out for help, that they just walk up to whoever, uh, a lot of children are going to go missing. A lot of children are going to be killed.
Yeah.
So,
And not only that, and I'm not going to give ideas, like, Hollywood pisses me off to the most part. And I go to movies and I think that these
Yeah.
actors and actresses are very, creative and,
Yeah.
great. That's your craft. But don't complain about gun violence
Yeah.
when you're the first ones to put out all these movies where there are stabbings and guns.
Yeah.
Don't complain about how compassionate you are when you have, and I'm not mentioning names, a very high profile celebrity who was an icon in the 80s and 90s to a lot of the youth back then, and you're supporting a young lady who happened to be a transgender who shot up a school. You don't talk about the mothers and fathers who lost their children. You don't talk about the loss that affected how many generations that are scarred, or the children that saw their friends die,
right.
or the teachers that cannot go back to work because they can't cope with the fear of having to defend children die or themselves.
Right.
The loss that was there, but you're defending the life of the person who shot up that entire school.
Yeah. And
a gun, by the way, a gun does not kill people.
No.
People kill people. People
Yeah.
pick up those guns and kill people.
Exactly.
And if they're sick enough to want to kill, if they can't get to a gun, they'll get to another weapon.
Exactly.
Help society's mental illness.
Yeah.
A gun does not kill. A person kills.
Exactly. Exactly. And that incident, that person knew what she was doing. He talked about it in a journal. This is a person who held on to anger from being bullied in school throughout her life until the day she was killed. I learned if you hold on to that, you don't grow forward. you stay where you're at, and anger builds and builds and builds. And from that, you're either going to kill yourself or you're going to go out and believe that you have the right to take other people's lives because you're so pissed off that you got hurt so many years ago. It's really unfortunate. What makes it unfortunate are the many people, including the governor of that state, who also supported the murderer, the person who walked into that Christian school and murdered those people. It's my thought and thinking has always been, if you have an issue, take it up with the person you have an issue with. There's always a way to deal with situations. Always. Always. I face my abusers to their face. And it is the most difficult thing I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown. But I got through it. And I made it out of it. And I'm here today. Had I tried to take my life? Absolutely. Absolutely. I tried 5 times. And every time God said, not today. So there is a way out of the insanity that is our life. And that is what people need to seek out instead of pretending to something that they're not. I'm just blown away by the goings on in our country. You know, the fact that we live in a free country entitles all of us, every human being in this country that is an American citizen, not an illegal alien. Okay? I want to be very crystal clear with that. That doesn't make me a racist. It doesn't make me a homophobe. It doesn't make me someone who hates or dislikes or judges other people.
No.
We have a system in this country.
Absolutely.
Russia has a system in their country. China has a system in their country.
Yeah.
Holland, you know, every country in this world has a system that they live by through their government. Now, I'll tell you this that I saw in the news. I know I'm jumping off around, but it's all about that one thing. You know, the idea that we can dress up as something we're not, because and then identify as that. You know, what's next? You're gonna go get your driver's license with your little costume on? What's your name gonna be? Wolfie? You know, that's just I'm not in it. I'm not in it. Go be what you want to be, but you leave the children the hell alone.
I was talking to you earlier, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was talking to you earlier about bullying, and I believe that there is mental illness amongst furries, and I am sorry if I'm offending anybody. Not my intention. But I think, you know, somebody could say, why don't you just, you know, do what you do? You do your real estate, you do your thing. Here it is. I have children. I'm going to have grandchildren one day. And if we don't stop thinking about the me, myself, and I, and start seeing society, including my clients, whether they're my real estate clients or my Democratic friends or my Republican friends, because I do have friends of independents, all of them. And of the different nationality backgrounds and all that. And I respect all of them. And we have conversations, unlike like most people who are offended if somebody doesn't think exactly like them, if they're not clones of each other, if they don't mimic each other, if they're still thinking as individuals who are still in high school, and the popular and the, bullies are bullies.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not looking to bully the LGBT community, or I'm not looking to bully furries. I respect you, whether you are gay, whether you are straight, whatever you are.
Yeah.
But you have to respect other people too if you want respect.
Right.
I respect you if you want to be two women who are married and have children, two men who are married and have children, because some of those children are better off with same-sex parents than they are sometimes with heterosexual parents.
Right.
If they can give love to those children and bring them up in a healthy atmosphere, that's great. I am not right. Well, I'm not talking about that. But if I'm a woman who was born a woman, I'm not a cis woman. Stop making up words.
Yeah.
Okay. I am a woman. I was born a woman with ovaries. Okay. So if I want to be in a woman's bathroom without a man who has just transformed himself into a woman coming in, I should have that right. Make a unisex bathroom, 3 bathrooms, men, women's, and a unisex, and go in there.
Yeah.
And all support each other in there. I am saying you need to respect how other people feel. And there is a generation of people who think quite differently than this new generation of, let's get rid of history. Let's vandalize history.
Yeah.
I can't get arrested. The young girl who walked into a museum and threw punch or whatever she threw, Kool-Aid on a piece of art that could never be replaced.
Nothing to do with climate change.
Should be arrested and put in jail for at least a year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. You know how this world does not interpret. You need, how you can criticize people who spank, a generation of people who were spanked. Oh, we don't want that. That's abuse. No, it's not really abuse. It's not. I'm not talking about beating up. I'm not talking about real abuse.
Abuse and discipline is when you go grab the switch off.
Yeah. Let's not go to extremes. I'm talking about a tap on the hand or a tap on the butt.
Or a spank on the butt. Yeah.
It's not the same as beating your child up. That's just not the same. But let's say you don't like that. How can you say taking a child and putting them under the knife before their brain is emotionally developed by 25, 26, some people say 28. Let's say those 3 years. Let's say you start at 25, the youngest of those.
Yeah.
At least till 25, allowing them. There's a young girl who was on YouTube. You could just look up these YouTube videos because there's hundreds of them of people who are now adults saying, these adults took me and they allowed me to make a decision that will alter and scar me for the rest of my life. I want to transition back and I can't because I was a boy and now I'm a woman and I will never get my identity back. I can't get my identity back. And they're scarred. He wants to transform back to who he was and he can't because some stupid adults decided it was a good idea to take this kid and to listen to his fantasies as a child.
Yeah.
Children do not know what they want from moment to moment. Children should not be able to make decisions that are life-altering. Right. They shouldn't. Let them make those decisions when they're 25. If they want to marry the same sex, let them. They want to adopt, let them. Maybe they'll be better parents than some heterosexuals. But do not change the values and the morals that this foundation of America was founded on.
Yeah.
And that is not talking about slavery.
Right.
Okay? Slavery was bad. No human should own another human. We all know that.
Right. But we're not looking at that And, that's the other thing that's got to change. We cannot
Can't change
live in the
history.
past. Yeah, we can't live in
Move
the
forward, America. Move forward. Have
and
a vision.
not close the door on it either. But we take that information and we learn from it. We gain wisdom from it, and we move forward to better days, to better
You
times.
know, you're only a victim of your past if you identify and want to continue that path.
Right.
When Cynthia and I talk about things that happen to us, we don't look at ourselves as victims. We look at ourselves as conquerors, as people who have battled through the tough times and gotten and found our voice. And that's what we want others to do. Do not identify as a victim, because you will always be a victim. You will always have that victim mentality. Oh, woe me, feel sorry for me.
Right.
I've had shit happen to me, and this is not for children. I've had horrible things happen to me. And you know what? I got back up and I said, never again.
Yeah.
I will not be that victim. I will talk about what happened to me to help somebody out there to find their way towards a better life. Right?
Yeah.
So it's okay to talk about what happened to you, but move forward.
Yeah.
And persevere and find a goal.
Yeah.
And find out who you are inside and where you want to go.
Right. When these furries are,
I don't want to call them furries. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When these humans who are dressing up in costume and thinking that is a healthy way, fantasy football, dangerous. Any kind of fantasy that is not in reality. It's okay if you could go, oh, I can play fantasy football, but I understand that's not reality. But when you have human beings who are becoming obsessed, whether it's gambling, gambling is a dangerous disease. Okay.
Yep.
And anybody who thinks that running to anything to make your problems go away is not a dangerous way of thinking. Running to drugs, running to gambling, running to sex, running to having a healthy sexual life is one thing. Running to sex, when you have Dolly Madison, I think it is, when you have dating sites like that, where you can hide your identity because you're married people screwing around with other married people, that's a sickness. You have an illness. You need to see a therapist. When anything that you have to run to get away from your reality is a mental illness. And if you do not understand that, shopping addictions are a mental illness. Body dysmorphia, mental illness. Running to gambling, mental illness. Running to sex, mental illness. Having a habitual desire to cheat on your spouse, mental illness. If you do not think you are just as bad as these people who identify as furries, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Anything that escapes your reality is a mental illness when it's done on a daily basis, or even if you're not doing it on a daily basis, but the thoughts are spiraling in your head to do these things, you have a mental illness.
Yeah.
If you need to play cards, if you need to have an addiction to gambling, you have a mental illness. Anything in excess is a mental illness.
Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble, America.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Uganda,
It's crazy.
They have passed a law now where if you are gay or lesbian, you better get the hell out that country, because they're going to arrest you. And if they can't arrest you, they're going to kill you. They are getting, I feel bad for them, because that's the part of that's what one of the many freedoms that we have in this country is the freedom to be who we choose as American citizens.
I'm going to tell you another thing.
Okay.
When you are insecure as a child, when you have been bullied, that's why you fall into these categories of searching and looking. I need to find the right religion. I need to search for that, you have religion hoppers because they don't know who they are. They don't have a foundation of who they are. They're searching.
Your child is being bullied in school. Put them in a different school. Homeschool your child.
So listen to
people who are having issues with their children in a public school and come together and hire a damn teacher and teach them at home in groups.
So listen to this statistic.
So, they've got that social learning. They get that social experience. I was bullied in school, in elementary school, and middle school. I didn't go to middle school. I went to junior high school. And I was bullied in high school. And I was bullied in college.
Well, listen to this, because it is a direct link to your bullying and many people who bully. And it's a direct link why I chose my ex-husband, right? Because there was an insecurity in me. And victims walk in the path of danger. We walk to either our abusers or something that we want to numb the pain, right? We do. We might come out of that. I have certainly come out of that so much stronger. I know who I am. I know what I want. And I know what I believe in. Okay. So I always felt the way I did. I just never had the voice to speak who I was. So it's not like I found myself, because I have always been this person. I was just afraid. I was numbed. I was afraid to speak up because of the person I was around and the control they had over me. Okay. So I want to give you a statistic that is linked completely to Cynthia's bullying in school and why maybe she took the path she did before she because she was the person she was, but before she was able to allow others to see her for the strong person she is. Okay. So CNN, this is an article by CNN, Inside the Misunderstood Culture of Furries. So now we're calling it a culture because CNN is extremely liberal media and they only show liberal media. They're never fair and balanced. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm taking that from Fox, but it's true. They're never fair and balanced. And either is Fox anymore, by the way.
Right.
So programming note, this is Life with Lisa Ling. Okay. Explores the furry culture Sundays at 10 p.m. So CNN writes, the furry community has a message of the rest of the world. Their culture is not about sex. Meanwhile, a lot of videos, if you just do your research, show otherwise. Okay. And the reason why a lot of them are coming out now saying it's not about sex is because they're fighting to have children involved in this very dangerous culture. Okay. Call it a culture if you want, but it's a very brand new identity in a culture. We've just learned about all these things because you know what? Everybody wants to be respected, but let's get rid of Jesus, God, and traditional values and morals.
Right.
That's what they want.
Right.
Free for all, except for those who believe in religion.
Right.
Okay. Or certain religions.
Yeah.
In fact, people in the furry community are largely annoyed. This is from CNN's interview. Are largely annoyed about how their community has generally been portrayed by mainstream media outlets. Most feel like depictions of sexual fetishes wearing, depictions of sexual fetishes wearing furry costumes and at wild parties are inaccurate and downright unfair. A video is a video. If you're acting sexual and you're making sexual jokes or conversations, it's not a place for children.
Right.
So it says, I'm going to go down. You can read it. You can look up this article, but I'm going to go down to a statistic that it just gave me about these children being bullied. So let me go back to that because I don't want to go through. You can read the article yourself. It is saying a lot of furries have some kind of bullying history. Okay. So researchers found they reported significantly more bullying than the average person. According to Fur Science, get this, furscience.com. Fur Science, FURSCIENCE.com. So Fur Science now is they're the accurate source of this statistic.
Yeah.
Fur Science said that 61.7% of furries and I'm not going to call them furries, I'm sorry. They're people who dress up in animal costumes. Yeah. Reported being bullied from ages 11 to 18. I don't condone that. If your children are on the football team or the popular crowd, that's beautiful. I'm glad they have a lot of friends and that they're athletes. I love athletes and I think it's great to have a lot of friends. The problem I'm finding is that sometimes, not all the time, but there are some times where parents do not take control of their children and say, I'm proud of you, son, daughter, that you have a lot of friends, you're doing well in school, and you're well liked. Please don't bully other people.
Yeah.
It drowns them. It sends them down a bad path. You would not like to be bullied, nor would you like your future children to be bullied.
Right.
Please keep your hands and your comments to yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you. As a parent, you have that freaking right. Yeah. So take control of your children and teach them not to bully.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah. Don't take your children to
being a furry, in my opinion, I am not a side note, not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a therapist, a psychologist. I am a life coach, which is very different. You can look that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, my opinion is that this falls under the category of mental illness.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. My opinion as a person in the United States is that it falls under. Okay.
Right. Right.
So if it is true, and I don't know that that statistic is accurate because Fur Science came up with it, but let's say furscience.com is accurate. And I can only imagine that I'm thinking it's worse than this.
Yeah.
Because if you're dressing up in an animal costume on an everyday basis and thinking that that is a reality, unless you're on a Disney program, it's not really.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be wearing it outside of work.
Yeah. That would be considered their uniform.
Yeah. It's a uniform.
Yep.
Only during work hours.
Correct.
If I'm thinking it's worse than 61.7 because we have such bullies in this society. Right. Liberals consider themselves compassionate, but they're the ones burning down buildings, trying to get rid of traditional values and morals, saying we don't care about women because now we're going to call them cis women. And if they don't feel comfortable, too bad, we don't respect them. We just want them to respect us. Well, that's not the way it goes. Respect goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right. I respect you, right, to adopt children in a healthy environment and to live your life. Respect, great. As long as you're right, you're spreading that same respect on the other side.
here's
I'm
what
a
I don't
traditional
respect.
woman.
Yeah.
I believe in a man and a woman. Okay, just my opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't respect you. Do as you please. This is my opinion. And I respect you. Respect me that I don't want a man walking into a woman's bathroom.
Right.
I don't care if I like you as a man, and I don't care if I don't. I don't care if you're my boyfriend or you're not. You don't belong in a freaking woman's bathroom. Stay the hell out. Not
Exactly.
your children, by the way.
Exactly.
And yes, I do get a little pissed off because I really do believe that this is becoming a nation of respect everything I do.
Yeah.
But
Me-
if I'm gay, I don't have to respect you.
Yeah. And so, you know,
Not-
it's the thing that the ones that I have zero respect for are the parents taking their children to gay or pride parades where men are in their underwear, bent over, shaking their ass,
I'm bulging out.
of children 7 to 10 years old, letting someone else whip them in front of these children. Men on bicycles naked. What is wrong with the parents bringing their children to
And
that?
please, your historians who happen to be gay or whatever, do not bring ancient history into it.
Yeah.
Because hopefully we have evolved from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 3,000 years ago. Or
Yeah.
4,000 years ago. You're hoping you evolved to a different platform. So as beautiful as you think ancient art is, don't bring it into modern
I will
society.
tell you about what a pedophile told me. And that pedophile was my dad. And that man told me, gee, you know, maybe we should have a different way of life here where everybody walks around naked. That came from a pedophile. A pedophile who abused me for 8 years of my life.
Her father.
Yeah. So when we talk about when we're shown these things in the news, or you live in a place where you are standing on the street or walking down the street, and these people are in a parade and they're walking down the street and they're coming up to your children, shaking their wanker at them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is wrong with these parents?
When people,
as well,
yeah.
is
When people
you
ask,
that you
we're right.
bring your child to something
Yeah.
like that, that's the people I don't respect. I have no respect for
Yeah.
cross-dressers who go to elementary schools, who read kindergartners queer stories.
When people ask, who asked you for your opinion, or why are you even having a voice on this? What business? When people say, well, you're not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, most psychologists and psychiatrists have not been through abuse, have not been molested by their parents.
Many
And I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. So I can have compassion for Cynthia, but I had wonderful parents. I had parents who did everything for me and worked their asses off to give my sister and I what we have, especially the homes we're sitting in. But that's another story that I won't bring up here. So I can't. So on that note, Cynthia, I wouldn't have brought it up, but did bring up something personal about herself. And you have to understand, look at where she came from. She's not hiding behind a fur costume. And she's not pretending to be somebody she's not. Yeah. No child deserves to be touched by anyone.
Men who are the most wonderful human beings. These people do not choose to be a part of the circle of ugliness that is being spread across our country. Who in New York they had a parade, pride parade, and they're chanting, "We're queer and we're coming for your children." No, you're not. Because if you try to come for my children, you're not going to like who I'm going to be. That doesn't mean that I have a homophobe idealism about you. It means
Such a screwed up society.
my family.
Yeah. You have to understand, a parent is supposed to protect.
Yes.
Okay.
Protect.
When you're a parent, you have to make
Not
tough
get your
choices
child
for your
mutilated
children.
because
Your
you
children
want to
do
go
not
over
make
her.
tough choices. You make them for your children because your children don't know any better.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
a parent, not a wuss. Your child doesn't belong making decisions, and especially life-altering decisions, and especially around people who think talking about sex is normal, and especially around people who think going around naked in front of your children is normal. It is not. It is confusing for them. They are young. They're supposed to be playing outdoors, climbing trees, playing with dolls and trucks and whatever. And I don't care if the girls play with the trucks and the boys play with the dolls. They're children. They're acting, okay? Men hold babies too, you know. Men are fathers, right? So they can play with a doll because they're going to have children one day. Yeah. That doesn't make them any less manly. But what makes that sick is a society that thinks that it's okay to be over-sexualized, is a society that thinks that children should be encouraged to participate with people who are disrespectful in New York City, going down, being naked, who don't care about the mother and the children and the fathers and the families who are walking around and just want to enjoy the day. Yeah. That you need to be fed somebody else's garbage. Yeah. We need to grow up and respect everybody. You want to be respected as a gay person, then respect people who are not gay.
You know,
I respect us all. Respect every religion, every, you know, I'm a heterosexual. That doesn't mean I want a bunch of heterosexuals jumping around New York naked.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not bothered by who a person chooses to be. That's their own self.
That's for them.
Right?
Be who you want to be. Just respect everybody.
It's all good. But don't throw it in my face.
Do not.
Tell me you're coming for my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren. Yeah. Because you think you know better because you don't. That doesn't make me anything but a human being. And as human beings in this country, we have a right to our opinion. We have a right to free speech, but we don't have a right to go out and be stupid. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's stupidity. And it's also very selfish.
And it's a serious thing what these furries are doing. Because
I mean, oh my God.
They're
takes off across the country. Holy crap, you know, that's like
you want a sexual fetish, you want a role play, do it in your bedroom with your spouse or your lover. Yeah. Not on the streets where young children are influenced by you. Yeah. I don't care what you're into. I don't care what you believe. Respect everybody if you want respect. Yeah. But if I'm not throwing my belief system down your throat, don't throw yours down mine. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Be a good person. Go out and do good deeds. Wish well for others. Yeah. Work hard. Yeah. And as far as you're two gay parents and you love your children, then God bless you. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I respect that.
Don't do what's his face? That's oh doggone it, Buttigieg.
Who?
Don't raise children like that.
Oh yeah.
Don't go out and buy fake boobs that you can fill with breast milk and feed a baby that you've adopted. That man is not right up here.
No.
And the research also shows if you go research his life, He used to date women. So now he's crossed over to, I don't know how you could identify him as, other than, insane. When you, put out publicly images of yourself with fake breasts on, breastfeeding your newly adopted baby. When you post pictures of yourself in a hospital bed, in a hospital room, with this newly adopted baby that you're holding to make believe that you have had this baby. There is no way in hell that you had a baby. The only people in the world, in the whole world, that can have children, that can carry a child, are biological women who have ovaries, who have cervix, who have a uterus. Those are the only people that can biologically have children. If you are a man or who believes himself to transition to a woman, you can believe that all day long. You can believe all day long that you're having cramps. You can believe all day long that you're having a period. But I promise you, unless you are equipped with ovaries, a uterus, you are not having a period. And that's scientific and a biological fact. So unless you have those things, if you know, what's his face, the swimmer, he doesn't like what's happening either. And neither do the people that I know that are gay and lesbian. They don't like what's happening either. You know, it has grown so out of hand that this next flood that's coming with the furries is outrageous, and it completely needs to. We totally need to start standing up. If you are a parent who's living in a state that is making themselves a sanctuary state for people with children who want to get their children mutilated, move out. We'll live in a different state where they don't have that, where that's illegal. Because in the states where they have passed laws, where the governor has signed legislation to say that, yeah, if your child wants to be whatever other than themselves, bring them up here. Governor of New York just signed an executive order and bragged about it in the news. New York is now a sanctuary state for all transgender people and children. So if you're a parent and you want your child, you always wanted a girl and you had a boy. So now you're going to make your boy believe that you can be a girl. You're really a girl. You're really a girl. You're really a girl. You can bring your kid to New York, and every doctor in that state has to do an operation on that child to mutilate your child. And what I've heard, what I've learned doing research about this mutilation of children, of boys and girls, what they do to provide the girls with a penis is they remove skin from the forearm to create a penis. What they do for boys is they remove their penis and they take skin from that penis to create a vagina. And then they give them hormone blockers. Hormone blockers, you can't reverse that. They are not reversible. As much as You might hear these professionals tell you that hormone blockers are reversible. They are not. And that's why they won't answer questions. That's why these people that ask the question, do you know what a woman is? Can you tell me what a woman is? I can tell you what a woman is. I can tell you that a woman has breasts, has a vagina, has ovaries. A woman has a different skeletal build, a different muscular build than a man. So changing that, if you're a man and you want to become a woman, you become a woman in your mind. You become a woman only in your mind. And you take drugs and you have surgeries so that you can have breasts like women do. So that you can have, most transgenders do not get their penis removed. And most transgender, a woman who transgendered over to male does not get rid of her vagina, does not get rid of her ovaries. What she does is she puts a wrap around her breasts to make her breasts flat and shades. Maybe takes hormone shots so that her hormones begin to change. So she's not getting estrogen anymore. She's getting testosterone, which creates these whiskers. Like I gotta take my whiskers off again because I don't get enough estrogen. And so I need to have more estrogen to stop this from happening. But it's all good. I don't care about that. I know that I'm a woman and I know how to deal with that. So I'm good with that. But yeah, these people, I really believe that there needs to be a different category in sports for men, women, transgender men, and transgender women, so that the sports world is equal and fair. I have not seen one single woman who has transgendered to man in any male sports. Not one. Not a single one. So why is it that the men who are transgendering to women being allowed to go into the women's room, build a new bathroom for transgender women, build a new bathroom for transgender men, and allow it to be equal? If you are going to continue this insanity, then do it appropriately and respect the biological men and women in this country. Stop throwing it in our faces. The majority of humans in this country do not care what you choose to be. What we care about is how you're going about making yourself known. The transgender people that were invited to the White House to celebrate Pride Month and to show your breasts that you've grown. I don't want to see that at our United States Capitol. And I don't accept that apology from that person, because that is absolutely true. It's completely disrespectful to everyone, including yourself, for doing it. And I don't give a shit what part of I was in the moment and I just had to do it. Then you shouldn't have been there. if your intention was to say, hey, I'm at the White House, look at me, woo, see my boobs that I'm getting. That is just, and you want us to respect you? You don't respect yourself when you do that. All you people, transgenders that are riding your bicycles in the parade naked, you want us to respect you?
It has nothing to do, Cynthia, with being a victim, because we've both been victims in our own ways, maybe in different circumstances, different ways that we were brought up, different ways, the people that we've been around. We might have had some major differences, but yet we've, and listen, there are people who are victims all their lives and it's not to their fault, like just circumstances happen. So we're not judging that. But what we're saying is don't use being, don't identify as a victim.
Yeah.
Identify as somebody who doesn't want to be a victim.
Yeah.
Identify as somebody who wants to break free from being a victim. Yeah. Identify as somebody who wants to fight.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's easy, because we both know it's not.
Somebody,
but don't use it as an excuse to harm.
Does not gain our respect.
Yeah.
These people who are doing these things, have done nothing but created disrespect. So, you want me to respect you? Then behave like a human being, not like a complete freaking idiot.
Yeah.
And most normal gay and lesbian people, men and women, they hate being labeled with the LBJD, whatever freaking thing they call themselves. What is it? Lesbian, gay, LGBTQ plus, whatever.
Queer and whatever. But here's the thing, you can't go around and now regular women have to listen to you and go, oh, we're cis women. We're not cis women. We're women. You came after us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And there's, identify as whatever you want, but don't force labels on other people because you've decided to change the way society does things. You're not like, you're not a god. You're not, you're a person with an opinion. Yeah. And we have to respect your opinions, but guess what? On the other side of that, you have to respect others' opinions. And if I'm telling you that there is billions of young mothers and men who believe the way I do, and you have to respect them too. And if they have young children who they don't want to be a part of something that they think that is indecent, then you need to respect that. You think it's decent? Fine. Raise your children the way you want to. Go on your side and do what you want. But don't bring children into it, really. Children shouldn't, as heterosexual parents, you shouldn't be having sex in front of your child. And you shouldn't be doing sexual, having any kind of sexual content in front of them as heterosexuals, right? I believe the same thing for your LGBT, queer, whatever community. That's fine. Be a part of that community in your adult world, but don't influence your children on it. It's wrong. Just like if you're a father who's bringing women into your children's play area and allowing your friends to have sex down there, I'm going to go. Maybe that's wrong too. And if you're a priest that knew about it and condones it, that's wrong too. Right? It's wrong. I'm sorry if any of you identify with what I just said.
Yeah.
But the truth is the truth. And that's
Yeah.
wrong. It's wrong that
Yeah.
your children had to see that if they did. And I'm not saying it to anybody. I'm just saying it. You know, I've said this to people, be careful what you wish for because it comes true, right? When you manifestation, I know I'm Greek Orthodox and a lot of people will disagree with me, but it's true. You can create your reality by investing in those thoughts. It's very true. Don't confuse role playing in your partnerships during personal times as reality. Role playing and doing adult things shouldn't be a part of your children's lives.
Right.
And by the way, if you are cheating on your spouse, you're cheating on your children, and you're allowing your children to develop your bad habits. Okay, whether you know it or not, you're hurting your children because your children will become what you are. So if you want your daughters to be cheated on, continue cheating on your wife. If you want your sons to be cheated on, continue doing what you're doing as a cheating woman on your spouse. Cheating's cheating. Okay. And you know, there's no reason for it. You're so unhappy, get out of your marriage. Don't hit your wife. Don't hit your husband. You're so unhappy, go find yourself. But don't hurt your children or your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Don't drag somebody down a road they don't want to go down.
Right.
And if you're a doctor who thinks it's okay to have their friends go in a playroom that your children play in and have sex with different women, then go get therapy. If you identify with what I just said, if you identify with it, and I'm not saying you do, because could be a very fictitious thing, but if you identify with it, go get therapy. Don't pretend to be a moral person. Don't pretend to go to church and believe in God, because guess what? The good Lord knows my sins, but he also knows yours. And don't think that on your deathbed, you could just say, I'm going to fuck everybody till I know I'm going to die. And then I'm going to say, I'm sorry. It doesn't work that way. Okay? You don't get to say you're sorry at your last breath because now all of a sudden you're afraid.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So kind of understand that. And if you live by that, if you understand that there's a higher power than you who sees everything you've done, it's not being sinful or doing simple things. Everybody does. Everybody has sinned. There's no perfect person on this earth. Anybody who claims that they're perfect is a liar. However, continuing to do it over and over and over and over and over again, that's the dangerous thing. Making mistakes and allowing yourself to admit, I was wrong. That's how you grow as a person. But when you continue them knowing in your sane mind what you're doing, that's when you have to be careful. That's the point you have to say, I'm continuing these patterns. Hold on one second. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay. Continuing, I apologize for that. Sticking my belly into the camera. Didn't mean to do that, but I couldn't reach. I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. So, you know, be careful of the patterns that we do. If you're a heterosexual and you're having a parade where you're gyrating, you better make sure it's in an enclosed atmosphere where children aren't. If that's your thing, do it. Just not around kids. If you're a heterosexual, So it's not like, oh, she's homophobic. No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying children do not belong in an adult world.
No.
They don't.
That's why you're
Let
told,
them grow up.
that's why they have parents. That's why when they're babies they wear diapers. They don't wear grown-up clothes.
Okay.
There's a reason why laws were changed throughout the years. Because
Yeah.
humans discovered that a child at 13 still is not able to make a decision to have their body mutilated because they want to be someone different.
Yeah.
So, you want to be someone different as an adult, whatever floats your boat. Stop throwing it in our faces
Absolutely.
and stop trying to involve the children. So, I think we've got one enough. So I think it's time to call it. What you doing? Are you working over there? She's working.
I'm multitasking. I'm guilty of multitasking.
Guilty.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. But I am listening. Listen, you know, I think that's, you know, me cheating on the show and trying to multitask is sinful in a way, but it's not influencing little children.
Right.
Okay. What happens to us as people is just like what I'm doing. We cram everything. We get very nervous, right? So I know I get nervous about all the things I have to do and all the things that I haven't done that I need to do. And I go, oh, I've got to get it in. And I have somebody in my life I love who is not well, and my dad. And I have my mom who I worry about. And I have my children and my friends and things that go on. And so what we do is we start to like go like this, right? And sometimes I've gotten like that and I've gone to Cynthia and I'm like, help me, what's going on with me? And, you know, we talk and everything like that. But that doesn't give me the right, or Cynthia the right, or anybody the right to bring adult situations and adult conversations to our kids, right? It doesn't give you the right because you're an MD or a lawyer or a judge to do indecent things in the home of your children. It doesn't. Not an excuse. You're stressed, not getting along with the wife or the husband, fighting. Doesn't give you the right to incorporate the children into those adult things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and if you lie, if you use your title for the respect of a judge or a law guardian or anybody in any situation, I'm not saying this was my situation, I'm saying it's a situation. If that happened to you, and those are the things you're doing, if I am the lawyer or the judge or the cop or somebody in authority, and I'm using that to influence a judgment in any case of mine, you can do that and you can win, but not in the eyes of the Lord. If you believe. If you don't believe, well, then all shit goes. It's great to be an atheist, right? Because you've got nobody to answer to.
Right.
You got no guilt because nothing's going to happen to you. You can go out and do anything you want. You can be a celebrity with the initial M and use your influence to condone the behavior of somebody who picked up a shotgun and killed many. And not care about the victims. And I'm not saying anybody's name. I'm just saying when you condone somebody's behavior, because the things, I cannot go around hurting people because I was abused.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have that right.
Nope.
And either does Cynthia.
Nope.
And guess what? Either does any heterosexual or gay person, or transvestite or transgender. It does not give you the right. And you cannot, first of all, you're not a woman if you weren't born a woman.
Right.
Well, call yourself a cis woman. I'm a woman, you're a cis
That's
woman.
right. That's right. That's right.
You created that term, not me. I was born
Right.
a woman, and only the real women who transition into a man can have babies if they don't take out their ovaries.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're not a man, you're a woman who just is playing a man. And if that's how you feel on the inside, great. And you want to identify as a man, great.
Yeah.
But the only reason you're having babies is because you're a woman on the inside.
Exactly.
Okay. And it's just a scientific thing. It's not a personal thing. It's not an opinion. It's scientific.
Yeah.
And to stop making up that you're a scientist because you say first science doesn't make you a scientist. Create your environment and your future by doing positive things for others. And respect. Do not be a bully. Do not bully gay people. Do not bully these people who are dressing up in fur costumes. Have some compassion, because there's mental illness out there. And when you have body dysmorphia, that is the same thing. When you have body dysmorphia, you don't feel comfortable socially, which these fur people don't, and you hide, right? When you have body dysmorphia, you have a disfigurement in your mind of what is actual reality. And so these are the people who have eating disorders, who have disorders in their minds of what reality is, what they look like, so that they have to go transform into something else to fit in. But you're not fitting into society by putting on a fur outfit. You're only fitting into a very small group of other people who have the same mental illness that you do.
So bottom line, I think,
and that's my opinion, that it falls under that category. I'm not a therapist or a doctor to diagnose anybody.
But in closing, I just want to say, be mindful. Whatever you choose to be, whoever you choose to be mindful of others. Don't expect others to have respect for you when you're doing stupid stuff, because life isn't like that. I have more respect for the people that I know and have known and have come to know in my lifetime that believe in being who they are, embrace and honor who they are, whether they believe in God or not, doesn't matter. It's who you choose to be in your life as a human being. If you expect others to respect you, then you need to respect yourself. And look at what you're doing. And look at the horror that you are creating. Not within yourself, but to the children who are now suffering. So you think about when you see this show, you think about that. And I will pray for you, whether you like it or not. I don't care who you are, pray for everyone. It's the nature of who I am. So you be the nature of who you are, and I will be the nature of who I am. Respect works both ways. It's not a one-way street. So you better start looking at that. This society in this country is not a one-way street. And with that, I'm going to close for the day. We're so glad we had this time together.
Well, yeah, I think we
Okay.
said like a lot tonight, but today, it's not really tonight, but I also think that if you want to take what we're saying wrong and throw out labels that like we don't like gay people or lesbians or gay men or don't think they should be parents, listen to the entire video so you
Yeah.
can get the full scope of what we
Right.
said, rather than identifying a word here and a word there and putting them together and labeling everybody.
Right.
Because the real prejudiced people are those who don't respect women who were born women, who don't respect children who shouldn't see sexual behavior. The real victims are the children.
Yes.
Who we are influencing and allowing to mutilate their bodies instead of identifying the hundreds of videos out there of children who regret it because some adults decided for them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So.
By the way, you look very beautiful today. And I didn't tell you on camera. I told you off camera, but I'm telling you, she looks good today. So power to you. Just saying. Okay. If you don't have anything nice to say in the comments, by the way, we will block you. There is a way to block you. If you feel that you're the only opinion that should be out there, you got something coming. There's more of us.
That's something, that's worthwhile responding to.
Yeah.
It can be a direct statement. It can be whatever kind of statement, but if you're coming on to advance us, yeah, we've been there, done that. So that's not going to work for us. We'll just get rid of it. All right. Take care. God bless. Thank you for joining our show today here at home with Cynthia and Maria. And we'll see you next time we do our show. All right. Take care. God bless. And bye for now. Love you.
Love you too.
And
you are recording, so.
Yeah. And